Welcome to Science Snippets, Fun Facts, and Trivia. Today, we bring you Do Plants Have Emotions? The astonishing truth about plant communication. Have you ever wondered if plants could have emotions? It sounds strange, right? We often think of emotions as something unique to humans or animals. After all, plants don't have a brain, nerves, or anything like the organs we associate with feeling or thinking. Yet, there's growing evidence that plants are far more complex than we once thought. Could it be that they have their own way of experiencing the world? Let's start with an intriguing question. What does it mean for something to have emotions? Typically, emotions are linked to consciousness and sensation. But in recent years, scientists have discovered that plants exhibit behaviors that seem almost intelligent. They respond to their environment in ways that go far beyond simple, automatic reactions. Early theories about plant behavior were mostly centered around survival. How plants adapt to light, water, and nutrients. But some experiments have shown that plants can also communicate with each other and even react to changes in their surroundings, like being touched or hearing sound. Does this mean they might have something like emotions, or at least some form of awareness? Now, before we jump to conclusions, it's important to address why the idea of plant emotions sounds so absurd to many people. It challenges the very definition of what we think is necessary for something to feel: a nervous system, a brain, or a mind. But the scientific community is beginning to ask questions we never thought we'd ask about plants. Let's dive into this mystery and explore the fascinating world of plant communication and behavior. Have you ever heard that plants can talk to each other? It might sound like science fiction, but the science behind plant communication is real, and it's fascinating. Plants have developed sophisticated ways to communicate with one another, mostly through chemical signals. But these signals can relay important information, like warnings of danger or a call for help. One of the most well-known examples is how plants use their root networks to send out chemical signals. When a plant is under attack, say, from an insect, it can release chemicals into the soil. These chemicals can be picked up by nearby plants, essentially warning them to prepare for the same threat. In response, those plants might produce their own defenses, like toxins that repel insects. But it's not just about roots and chemicals. Some plants also release airborne chemicals, allowing them to warn others through the air. For example, when certain trees are damaged by herbivores, they emit specific scents. Nearby trees, upon detecting this scent, ramp up their defenses, like thickening their leaves or producing bitter chemicals to make themselves less appealing. The ability of plants to communicate isn't limited to just danger. They can also share resources, like nutrients and water, through underground fungal networks, often called the Wood Wide Web. These fungi create vast underground connections between plants, allowing them to send nutrients to neighbors in need. It's like an underground internet, connecting plant communities across forests and fields. So, while plants don't talk in the way we do, their communication systems are just as vital for their survival and growth. And as we'll see next, these complex behaviors raise even more questions about what plants are truly capable of. Plants may not have eyes or ears, but they seem to be surprisingly aware of their surroundings. Over the years, several studies have shown that plants can perceive and respond to things like sound, touch, and light in ways we never expected. One fascinating study demonstrated that certain plants respond to sound vibrations. For instance, researchers played recordings of caterpillars munching on leaves near plants, and incredibly, those plants started producing chemical defenses, as if they were under attack, even though no caterpillars were present. This suggests that plants might be able to hear, or at least sense vibrations as a way to detect threats in their environment. But it's not just sound. Plants also respond to physical touch. The famous Venus flytrap, for example, closes its trap when it senses movement from a potential prey inside. Scientists have found that the plant's hairs are sensitive to the slightest touch, triggering an electrical signal that causes the trap to snap shut. This kind of response to touch hints at an advanced level of sensitivity, even though it lacks a nervous system. Another interesting area of research involves the use of electrical signals in plants. Some scientists have discovered that plants transmit electrical impulses, much like neurons in animals. These impulses help the plant coordinate its responses, such as closing stomata to prevent water loss during a drought. This plant nervous system, while vastly different from ours, allows plants to react to environmental changes quickly and efficiently. Of course, not all scientists are convinced. The controversial 1973 book The Secret Life of Plants claimed that plants could feel pain, love, and even react to human emotions. While these ideas have largely been debunked, they sparked a surge of research into how plants perceive their world. And although we've come a long way since then, the question remains, how aware are plants really? Now that we've explored how plants perceive and respond to their environment, it's time to address the big question: can plants actually have emotions? To answer that, we first need to define what we mean by emotions. In humans and animals, emotions are often linked to consciousness, feelings of happiness, fear, pain, or even love. But do plants, which lack a brain or nervous system, fit into this definition? Most scientists agree that while plants demonstrate complex behaviors, these actions are not the same as emotions. Instead, plants are responding to stimuli in their environment based on evolutionary survival strategies. For example, a plant warning its neighbors of danger is more like a chemical reaction than a conscious decision. However, defining emotions biologically is tricky, even for animals. Some researchers argue that we might need to expand our understanding of emotions to include simpler organisms like plants. Just because plants don't experience emotions the way we do, doesn't mean they aren't capable of a form of awareness or intelligent response. After all, plants can learn and adapt. Experiments have shown that plants can remember where light sources were, or anticipate changes in the environment. The difference lies in how we interpret these responses. While plants can't feel joy or sadness in the way we understand it, their reactions to the world around them raise questions about the boundaries of intelligence and consciousness in nature. It forces us to rethink the gap between humans, animals, and plants. Could it be that plants possess a kind of awareness that we've simply been overlooking? The debate is ongoing, and the more we learn about plant intelligence, the more we realize just how little we understand. So, while plants might not have emotions as we know them, their intricate systems of response suggest there is still much to discover. The field of plant research is evolving rapidly, and we're only scratching the surface of what plants are truly capable of. As scientists continue to explore the world of plant communication and behavior, we're beginning to see plants not just as passive life forms, but as active participants in their environments. So, what might the future hold for this fascinating field? One of the most exciting areas of study is plant neurobiology. While plants don't have neurons, some researchers are investigating how electrical signals in plants mirror the way nervous systems work in animals. This emerging field could unlock new ways of understanding how plants process information and respond to stress, opening the door to questions about plant intelligence that were once thought impossible. As we gain more insight into how plants interact with their surroundings, there are ethical implications to consider. If plants do have some form of awareness or sentience, how does that change the way we treat them? Could this lead to new perspectives on conservation, agriculture, or even the rights of living organisms? It's a conversation that's just beginning, but could reshape how we view our relationship with nature. Beyond the ethical questions, the practical applications of plant research are enormous. Understanding plant communication and response could revolutionize agriculture. Imagine crops that can talk to each other to increase yields, or plants that can detect environmental changes and adapt in real time to prevent damage. This kind of research could help us address global challenges like climate change, food security, and environmental sustainability. In the end, the more we learn about plants, the more we realize they are far more complex than we ever imagined. Whether or not they have emotions as we understand them, their behavior challenges us to reconsider what it means to be alive and aware in this world. And as we continue to uncover their secrets, one thing is clear: the future of plant research is as green and growing as the plants themselves. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.